Hi, I'm Mike, and this is an intro. Alright, this guy is Rhys the Redeem. He's the second printing of this guy, and he's out of the Lorwyn block. The second half, I think that's Shadowmoor. I'm not sure which individual set. Might actually be the Shadowmoor set. I can never get those straight. But yeah, this guy's a one-drop general who's actually fairly impressive for just being a one-drop 1/1. Because his abilities are insane. Not to mention he's a tribal elf and a tribal warrior, so he can be broken in two different ways in that respect. Not to mention, pay 3, 2 colorless, green or white, tap and put a 1/1 green-white elf warrior creature token into play. Or pay 4, and a green or a white and another green or a white, tap. For each creature token you control, put a token into play that's a copy of that creature. So either he starts off by puking out tokens at 3, or at 6, every turn you're going to double your tokens. On his own, theoretically, if you get enough time, this guy will pull a Cranko. And not nearly as fast, but he's also much more versatile because he can do it with any token. So you can do some pretty scary things, especially with some of the tokens Planeswalkers produce in green and white that are equal to your life total, and you can, start spamming them pretty soon. But yeah, that's all late game stuff. What makes him interesting, though, is how he interacts with some of the other cards. For example, well, his easiest combo to pull off with him is dickish, but a lot of combos are. Aura Shards. Whenever a creature, specifically a creature, not whenever you cast, not whenever a non-token, creature, tokens count. Whenever it comes into play under your control, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. Essentially saying that you're going to make anyone who's running any type of Voltron deck, you're automatically going to be their target because you can shut them down. This is a really potent combo because you can do it on command. And God knows, when you get enough to really start going off for the exponential, you can wipe someone's board. And that's not even taking into account all the little effects that turn other permanents into artifacts. There's some really scary things you can do with this. Now, I'm not going to bring them up just because I don't know where those cards are of mine. I actually have both of them. One turns everything into an artifact, and the other is target permanent becomes an artifact. Both are very scary, and both work incredibly well with these duos. Or this duo. But that's not important right now. What is what happens next. This guy, this is a great stalling tactic right here. I'm going to say his name wrong. Darian, King of Keldor. I don't know how to pronounce the J correctly, so yeah. Now, he's a 6-drop 3/3, so attacking-wise, he's kind of a bust. But you're not going to use him for his attack. In fact, I would almost never attack with him. That would be a terrible mistake because someone could kill him then. His big ability, though, is to sit back and puke out tokens because whenever you're dealt damage, you may put that many 1/1 white soldier creature tokens into play. That's pretty scary in its own right. And don't get me wrong, if you have any type of a Soul Warden or Soul Attendant out, or anyone, even like Tristani, who has, you get life equal entering creature's toughness, anything that has life gain when creature enters will make this guy incredibly stupid because you theoretically cannot lose the game unless someone one-shots you. There's a timing difference, so as long as they don't kill you, you gain everything back. But if they kill you in the first hit, it goes before the end of the battlefield. So that's just trigger, though, and it's kind of the pain. But what makes it really scary and an amazing tactic to stall with is because when he's out, not only do you suddenly have an army, but that army exponentially multiplies, so you can guarantee whatever they do to you, you will do just as hard back, and then some. Not to mention, you can just keep hitting them with what they hit you with, and hold back just as many to take up what their next attack is, so that they theoretically cannot win. And that's if you're playing a straight-up game. And on their own, that's a really good tactic. But there's also a few other little tricks. For example, the Knight Captain of Eos. It's a really good stalling tactic. But on his own, he's not too scary. And he's only a 2/2, so he's easy to kill. Whenever Knight Captain of Eos comes into play, put 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens into play. Now, see, that's kind of useful because it gives Rhys something to start with, but that's not what he's useful for. His other ability is pay 1 white. Sacrifice a soldier. That's all the cost. No tap, so it can be used right off the bat. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. Now, normally, he only has the 2, so you can do it twice. Rhys doubles them. theoretically, if you have the mana, you can make it impossible to kill you through damage for the rest of the game. Now, that's a horrible stalling technique, and this guy does die to almost every single removal or death type effect in the game, and board wipes still go really well. But anyone who relies on actually damaging you or even poisoning you will suddenly become impotent in comparison. And don't even get me started on how he works out with Darien here, because, Darien produces the white soldiers. So theoretically, every time someone deals damage to you, if you don't have the mana, they suddenly have no way to possibly kill you for the rest of the game. And that's not even taking into account the fact that Rhys will then just bum rush everyone and decide when they want to die, because they don't have the control anymore. But really, the easiest way to break this guy? Champion of Lambholt. Because, oh dear God, this thing is stupid. I mean, I might just do a review on this card someday, because it is stupid in the stupidest sense of the word stupid of stupid. I'd probably say it a few more times, and I don't think I'd be saying it enough. It's a 3-drop 1/1, which honestly looks pathetic to start with. And it gets bigger whenever another creature enters the battlefield. Okay, now the upside to that is it isn't cast creatures, and it isn't... Okay, it's also not your opponent's creatures, it's specifically your battlefield. But it counts tokens, so she can get exponentially bigger because Rhys does exponential growth. And that right there is not bad, and to be fair, it's nice, but she doesn't have trample, so it's less. Up until you consider that creatures with power less than Champion of Lambholt, or Champion Lambholt's power, including the counters, thank God, can't block creatures you control. Not just her, every creature you control. Rhys is going to be puking out an exponential swarm quickly. That swarm will make Champion huge, and then when Champion's huge, your swarm is automatically protected from anything smaller. And it's going to quickly get to the point where there is nothing smaller unless someone pulls off an infinite win combo. Like for infinite, scaling. And at that point, if they haven't won with that, then I'm not really sure what's going on. They're just screwing around with you. So might as well hit them anyways. But yeah, these two cards work really well off each other. She gets bigger, so she'll hit for more. She makes sure your army, which will be probably proportional to her strength, will hit for certain. And Rhys just keeps sitting back going, yeah, you like that? Because it works so well. They just have such great synergy that they interact perfectly. And don't even get started on the little things because, all these cards work really well together. But, that's just a really solid group. Now, there's other cards that interact well with it as well, but these are the main ones. They stall out the game up until you get the cards you need, mostly Champion. And then you just start puking out creatures, get enough that you like, and you could probably one-shot the entire board, no matter how many players there are. There's just so much you could do. Not to mention, if you have any, splash of blue, where you can start copying other players' creatures for tokens, in which case, you can get some interesting things. Hell, maybe even start going exponential on her, because making a token copy of her, it's a blue instant out of, I think, Innistrad that does that. It has flashback too, so you can use it twice. But yeah, there's just so much you can do with these two colors, and specifically these two creatures, and almost guarantee that if you pull it off, you're going to win the game. Unless someone pulls, board wipey bullshit, because that is still a completely viable response, and probably the best one, because nothing else is going to get you at this point. Because you can always target them, but green has a lot of return effects. So does white. Not as many as black, because black's a boss at that. But essentially, if you're playing this, kill someone who has board wipes. Any kind of board wipes. Blue has a few that are evil, but, of course, black and white are the big ones. Red for damage could be, but you can get around that a few ways. Essentially, if you're playing against it, board wipe as often as you can. If you're playing with it, kill the person who has board wipes as quickly as you can. But yeah, that's Rhys. Hope you liked him. I think I have a deck out there that uses him. It's pretty good. I'm mostly just screwing around with everything, though, so it's all just fun. Yeah, if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'm always looking for new ideas, what you guys want to look at, so give me a heads up. I'm always interested in seeing what you want. Later.